What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. Hope you're all doing awesome today. And as usual, it's time to check out some more Reddit posts, so let's begin. Neighbor blames me for her husband's injury, even though she lets him wander with dementia. I live next to a couple in their 50s. The husband has dementia, and it's really unfortunate to see him going through that. But here's where things go south. His wife, my neighbor, constantly lets him wander around unattended, often in my yard. Yesterday I discovered him climbing on my shed in my backyard. Concerned for his safety, I immediately called my neighbor to come get him. She arrived but did nothing, just stood there watching as her husband then jumped off the shed and hurt his leg. I thought she'd be grateful that I looked out for him, but instead, she called the cops, alleging that it was my fault he got hurt because it happened in my yard. She was yelling and making a huge scene, saying I should have done more to prevent the accident. The officers were pretty understanding. Once I explained the situation and they saw my surveillance footage, they agreed it wasn't my responsibility to supervise her husband, especially when she lets him wander without any oversight. However, the nerve of this woman. She had the audacity to blame me for an incident she could have easily prevented by just properly caring for her husband. The entitlement is just mind-blowing. Now I'm left wondering if I should install a fence, or what measures I need to take to protect myself legally, because this is beyond ridiculous. Your neighbor is obviously trying to push her responsibilities of watching over her own husband onto other people. But just because you have a neighbor with dementia that wanders a lot doesn't mean that you have to baby-proof your own yard. It shouldn't be your concern. Now legally, I can't really speak on that. But for this woman to expect the entire outside world to be a safe enough place for her husband with dementia to wander is honestly just ridiculous. And if he ever does get seriously hurt, even more than this time, then you just know she's gonna blame it on anyone else but herself. Persistent window cleaners should have just left me alone. When I was about 14 years old, I was left at home on my own for the first time. This was a chance to prove to my parents that I was responsible enough to be left alone. Both my parents were at work. Mom was an accountant and Dad was a police officer. That is relevant. I was told not to open the door to anyone. After a few hours, there's a knock on the door. I ignore it. They keep knocking. It's clear I'm in the house, as you can see someone in the living room from the front door. They keep knocking, so I open the door to get rid of them. There are two men standing there. They tell me they are window cleaners and they'll clean the windows for a fee. I said no thanks. They persist, but I still say no. I close the door and think that's the end of it. 2 minutes later, they're cleaning the front windows. I go out and say I already told them I don't want the windows cleaned, and I can't pay them. They're cheerful enough. Don't worry, love, we'll leave a bill. You can pay it later. I'm getting quite anxious now, so I firmly, as firmly as a scared 14-year-old can, tell them to go away. A few minutes later, I hear some noise around the back. I open the back door, which is right next to the gate to the back garden. One of them is trying to climb the fence to unlock it. Now I'm panicking. Deep down, I know that they're just trying to clean the windows, but I don't like that they've ignored me and they're being so persistent. I yell at them to go away, but all I get was, "Don't worry, love, we do this all the time." But I have a secret weapon. I whistle, and my rather large German Shepherd dog comes to my side. Usually she wouldn't bark, but she knew I wasn't happy with these guys. She goes crazy. They ask me to put the dog away. Obviously I refuse, and they finally get the message. I'm pretty shook up, so I call my mom to tell her what happened. Mom calls Dad. Dad turns up in the marked car and talks to the window cleaners. I don't hear the conversation, but apparently it went something like this. "We've had a report that you've harassed a young girl and tried to gain access to the back garden when told not to." "No, mate, that's not what happened. She's making it up." "So you're saying my daughter is a liar?" The penny drops. Anyway, turns out the van they were driving had a flat tire and the tax had expired, so Dad fined them for that. Now I don't doubt that these guys were probably actually just window cleaners like they said they were, but they're obviously running a pretty sketchy business. Not taking no for an answer and just doing their services anyway, and then trying to stick people with a bill for something they never even agreed to. And that's not even mentioning the trespassing and climbing fences. Roommate stole from me, so her wallet vanished. Back in college, I had better credit than my 3 other roommates, so I put our internet and TV under my name, otherwise the deposit would have been $600. The cable company offered me a $300 Visa gift card upon signing up. 2 months later, I called them because the gift card never arrived. They tell me they sent it a few weeks ago, and eventually I'm able to find out from Visa that someone used it at the Whataburger, Target, and liquor store near my house. I'm pissed off because obviously one of my roommates has used it, but I didn't know which one. A few weeks later, roommate number 2 complains that their $200 birthday gift card to Target has gone missing. His mom still had the receipt, and the store was able to tell her that someone used it at the Target near our house. He's obviously pissed off too, but now we've realized that it's probably one of our other 2 roommates. Couple weeks after that, roommate number 3's wallet disappears. We turned the house upside down looking for it, and we knew it had to be in the house because her car key is attached to her wallet, and her car is parked at the house. She is absolutely frantic, sobbing, screaming, hyperventilating, etc., throwing crap everywhere and just having an absolute meltdown while tearing the house apart. We had never seen her behave like this, so we're all kind of surprised she'd be that upset about her wallet. It's stressful, sure, but I genuinely was concerned about how she was reacting. She says the gift card thief must have taken it, implying it is roommate number 4, the only person who hasn't had something stolen yet. A few days after that, I found her wallet in the trunk of my car. We had gone to get groceries together, and I guess she just laid it in the trunk while we were unloading. I'm like, holy crap, I found her wallet. And then I opened it up because I'm just excited to confirm that I did indeed find her wallet. Bam! Both stolen gift cards, front and center. No doubt. The Visa gift card has my name printed on it, and roommate number 2's mom had written something in Sharpie on his gift card. I realized she had a meltdown because she was afraid we'd find out she was the thief. I left the wallet, cash and all, right where it was, pushed up against the inner lip of the trunk, so you couldn't see it unless you leaned farther into the car. A locksmith wouldn't make her new keys without the title, and the title was in the glove box of her locked car. All in all, she spent about $500 replacing her driver's license, title, and keys, not to mention not being able to drive her car for several weeks. I moved out of state with her wallet still in my car, finally tossed it in the trash several months later. Sometimes the universe assists you with petty revenge. Now, she actually got off the hook pretty easy here, when you consider the fact that OP could have reported her for fraud but decided not to. So it could have been way worse for her than just having to pay that $500 to get her title and license back and whatnot. Apparently, since my nephew and I are different races, I kidnapped him. So a bit of backstory. I'm a mixed 18-year-old female. I'm also one of 6 kids, and my older sister is 10 years older than me. She had my nephew about 3 years ago, and I absolutely adore him, but you can't tell that we're related. My older sister has a different father to me and the rest of our siblings, and you can definitely tell. She's pale, blonde hair, blue eyes, and my nephew is the exact same, and he's the cutest little boy ever. So my sister had to work and couldn't get anyone else to watch him, so I offered, like the good sister and aunt that I am. I've watched him by myself plenty of times before, and I had nothing better to do. It was a nice day and I live close to a park, so I thought it'd be a great idea to take him and let him run around and wear himself out a bit before he had to nap. So I grabbed everything I needed, put him in a stroller, and we were off. My parents also knew where we were going just in case there was a problem, and there definitely was. We got to the park about 10 minutes later and nephew was so excited. He was doing that little kid babbling and it was adorable. I unstrapped him and off he ran. He knew to stay where I could see him, and I was about 10 feet behind him just to be safe. We were there for about an hour before he started to get tired and cranky, and needed his afternoon nap. So I gathered his toys and everything else before picking him up. But before I could strap him into the stroller, I heard that signature Karen clearing of the throat. This lady was probably in her mid to late 30s and had been there before I showed up. She had with her 2 little girls, but they were just chilling and said nothing during this whole debacle. Probably used to their mother's banshee screaming. "What are you doing with that boy?" Getting ready to take him home? It's almost time for his nap." "Well, where is his mother?" "Not here." "Look, lady, what are you... So you're trying to kidnap him?" Her screeching definitely caught the attention of every other parent around. "What? No, this is my nephew and it's time for us to go home." "How can he be your nephew if he's white and you're not?" She for real said this. After she said that, I just gave her this look of confusion, and even her kids looked at her weird. I say, "Are you always this stupid or are you having a bad day?" I probably shouldn't have said that, but she was pissing me off. Now, if she wasn't mad before, now she was. "What did you just say to me? Not only are you trying to kidnap this child, but you're also insulting me." She held out her arms. "Now give me the child." "What? No. Look, lady, I don't know who you are, and I'm definitely not giving you my nephew. And just because we don't have the same skin tone doesn't mean we aren't related." Before she could say anything back, one of the regular park moms came up to us. "OP, what's going on?" Entitled Mom says, "Oh, thank God you're here. She was trying to kidnap this poor child." "What do you mean, Entitled Mom? This is OP's nephew. I see them and OP's sister here all the time." "But how can that be her nephew? She's obviously black and he's white. How could they possibly be related?" This again sparked a tired and confused look on mine and the Friendly Mom's face. Friendly Mom says, "OP, why don't you head home? Nephew is obviously tired, and you look like you could also use a nap." "Thanks, Friendly Mom. Say hello to your daughter for me." "Okay, and say hello to your mom." I went home seething. You only think these sort of people are on bad reality TV shows or Reddit, but nope, I was wrong. I told my sister about this, and she too wants to hit this lady with a bat. Mom is just relieved Friendly Mom showed up when she did, because I would have fought that lady then and there. Ex's husband can't seem to get over me. So I dated a girl long distance for a year back in 2010. We broke up rather amicably, or so I thought. Her new boyfriend, now her husband, called me about a month later telling me that she had been seeing him behind my back, and that she never really loved me, etc. Personally, I laughed it off. I knew the relationship wasn't going anywhere, and I had been looking for an easy out for months. Being long distance made it much easier. But apparently it made him feel good about himself. Fast forward a few years, they're married, and he's traveling for work, which included a layover in my city. He posted something about me from the airport, and tagged a mutual friend of mine, so I saw the post. Something along the lines of, "Mr. Steal Your Girl back in your city." I know it was about me because the friend he tagged asked what he was talking about, and he mentioned me. Apparently, he has made several posts like this, both before and after I saw this one. I haven't seen or talked to either my ex or him since about a month after he called me years ago, during which there were several petty interactions. However, the fact that I was still on his mind after a few years, thinking that he had won some sort of competition against me, got my petty revenge thoughts brewing. I mean, he thinks it's a petty competition, so why not step up to the plate and take a few metaphorical swings? On this occurrence, I looked through his socials and noticed they were living in my ex's house, so I knew the address. I also knew that you can sign people up to be visited by Jehovah's Witnesses. Fast forward another few months, there's a new post about him having to deal with Jehovah's Witnesses coming to his door 8 times in a month. This actually does not come off as this guy thinking he won in a competition over OP. Instead, it comes off as him being super insecure and trying to act big. I mean, come on, he already married the woman, so why does he go out of his way to take jabs at OP like that? I think the real revenge here is simply the fact that you're on his mind so much. And I just don't understand the mentality of someone thinking that having an affair is something to brag about anyway. It's like, good job guys, your relationship started off as an affair. How romantic. Bet you can't wait to tell your future kids about how you met. That's all for today guys, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you next time.